Yes, sir, Mr. McDonald.
Yeah, I've got some grave concern about this, and I'd like to fill you in maybe on a few more details. First off, you all know that you're suffering right now with something that is going to come forward here very quickly and is affecting the city, and that's the airport. The reason we have the airport right now is because what went on at the commission level. Mr. Sullivan was part of that. The reason that we have this mess is because what has been created. But, you know, it's very interesting to me that you talk about this experience. My wife is a school board chair. She used to sit on the Value Adjustment Board with Mr. Sullivan when he was the chair. There are records that will show he had to get up, okay, and go over to Dave and show him where they were on the agenda because he couldn't follow it, okay? This is a concern for me. This is not the kind of person that I want to see sitting in that seat, okay, along with the other baggage that he brings along with this. And there's a whole host of things, okay, but probably the most relevant one here is the fact is that, you know, 2 years ago, he couldn't stay on the agenda at a Value Adjustment Board meeting. And you guys want to put this, Dave, up in that seat? I would ask you very seriously to consider not to do that. And I don't know where you're getting your information, and past history may be fine, but there's a time when everybody needs to retire, okay? And I don't want to be living here and being subject to decisions made by political retreads. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Anyone else for public comment? Yes, sir.
Hello, Jeff Lance again. I would like for us to move forward, and with the commissioners we have now, we are moving forward. But some of them likes to hold us back. If they worked in the administrator in the past and didn't do a good job, why we're bringing them back up? Let somebody fresh in there, new ideas, like Dr. Harris says. Never mind. We need to go forward, not backwards.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else for public comment? Seeing no one come forward, I'll bring it back to the dais. Any more comments?
Thank you for the public comment. Obviously, everybody is entitled to their opinion. Again, this should not be a reflection of the way that I will vote, but Mr. Sullivan, I want to thank you. I respect you very much. I respect the work that you've done. And regardless of, again, disagreements with regards to decisions, I can't say that I've agreed with every decision that any commissioner has made, but I don't think that your work and your service, not only to our country, but our community, should be overlooked. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else, public comment?
I was just going to add, you know, we had interviews here, so any question about the ability to do the job, I think, was dispelled during that interview process. I think personal attacks are unwarranted and unnecessary in this situation. Again, you're welcome to your opinion. That doesn't preclude the fact that I believe it's wrong and incorrect. And that's it.
Thank you, sir. Anything else, Councilman? You got anything? I'll close with this here. For me personally, never mind. Allison, call to vote, please.
Vice Mayor Panieri?
Can you come back to me, Alice? I need a minute.
Of course. Councilmember Gambaro?
Yes.
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Mayor Norris?
No.
And Vice Mayor Panieri?
No.
The motion fails 2-2.
Thank you. We're going to move forward with the next candidate. We only have one left. Do I have a motion? No motion for another one? Mr. Attorney?
Mayor, I would make a motion to appoint Mark Stansel. I know he didn't make it as a finalist, but he lost to Mr. Stevens by only 2 votes in the primary. I think that he, again, is a very strong servant leader. He's volunteered and offered himself to volunteer on several boards. He's familiar with Sunshine. He's familiar with policymaking in our community as a volunteer on some of our boards, very active. I think that he has shown the ability to be not only a servant leader, but has shown experience on some of our boards already. So I would make a motion to appoint Mr. Mark Stensel.
Legal counsel, is that a valid motion?
If the board would like to second it, yes, that's a valid one.
Do I have a second? No second? What's our way forward now?
Two options. One is you can have, where you do have one candidate that has not been a motion, and you don't want to do that. The other option is a motion for reconsideration, which is the prevailing side, which would be the noes, and those two motions that we previously would bring that back up for a motion of consideration.
So
If those don't work, then we would need to regroup and look to see how the council want to go directed, making sure we meet our 90-day requirement from the charter.
Can I motion to reconsider Ms. Candy Stevens?
No, because you were not on the prevailing side of that motion, because unfortunately it was a 2-2 tie, so the prevailing side were the noes on that one, because they would have to bring it back.
The noes would have to motion.
Yes. For a motion to reconsideration.
So I will then make a motion to reconsider Mr. Dave Sullivan.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Is there anything anyone wants to add? I mean, we've already had the discussion, so.
I would say, for me personally, I'd feel that appointing Mr. Sullivan would be the same as appointing David Alphen to that seat. And I can't see that happening. But I'll open it up to public comment if anyone wants to come forward with any public comment. Mr. Davis?
I would agree. She was the best candidate out of the three that y'all chose, out of the 13, I think it was, including me, when I didn't realize I wasn't even in District 3. Actually, yeah, that sucked. But anyhow, I really think y'all are missing the point here. The residents really want fresh eyes up there. Just like the ladies came up here and said, we voted fresh people in. There's a reason for that. Just like he said, we don't want an Alphen in there. He was appointed. We didn't want him in there. I mean, literally, if you look at all of my emails, he's not even attached to none of them. There's a reason for that. And I will never attach him to an email because he was appointed to council. I voted for y'all. I would send her emails because I know she stands for residents. The person that y'all are trying to put in is not for the residents, unfortunately. I really wish y'all would reconsider Candy Stevens and just make the right call. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else for public comment? Yes, Mr. McDonald.
Got an interesting impasse here, but I just wanted to comment on what Ms. Martieri said. Mrs. said, you had two candidates here that voters selected, okay? And one of them was missed by 2 votes. I was going to buy Ray Stevens the license plate by 2. And so, I don't understand. What's wrong with the voters, what they say? I mean, we watched the whole Boyer-Gambaro debacle go down, okay? And none of us could even believe what was happening, okay? This young man got out and worked. He's got all kinds of experience in Tallahassee, okay? People really liked him. He got outspent by a guy whose father bought him a seat for, in the Florida legislature. That's what happened to him. I talked to him that morning. He had talked to Alphen. He was going to get his vote. Okay? And all of a sudden, we got Mr. Gambaro. Now, I don't know Mr. Gambaro, and I've got nothing negative to say. Okay, all I'm saying is that out of the blue, the comment that was made before, Alphen, Danko, okay, and Clufus gave us Mr. Gambaro, okay? All 3 of those people were rejected by the voters in the last election. What's wrong with going with what the voters have to say? You know, we're sitting in a building right now that Nets said that the referendum that we had, that we all went out and voted on getting a new city hall, was resoundingly turned down, okay? But we're sitting in the building that we got stuffed into because of that, because you know what Mr. Nets said? It wasn't a binding referendum. Well, you know, this is binding here, the last election that we had, and it's important to follow what the voters have actually said. They actually took their time, came out and voted for people. Those are the people that we should be putting in. And so, and we certainly should not be putting people in, you know, that are just being recycled and replayed. It's time for people to retire. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else for public comment? Yes, ma'am.
Again, the residents of Palm Coast do not want the same old. We don't want people that have been in office forever, that have done what they've done and become part of a clique, if you want to call it. We want fresh and new blood, because that's what we voted in this past election. And that's, you know, Ms. Ponteri brought up the point I brought up in the email that I sent to everyone, that if you had to pick a second person other than Candace Stevens, then it should have been Stansel, because the voters did vote for him. The big bulk of them only lost by 2 votes to Mr. Stevens, and I voted for Mr. Stevens, and I'm very sad that he's suffering what he is suffering now. But I think the vote really should go to Candace Stevens.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll bring it back to the dais. Any further comments?
Just a point of clarification, will we need to vote in the affirmative to reconsider and then have another vote to appoint, I would assume? Yes. So if the no votes for either Ms. Stevens or Mr. Stansel wanted to also make a motion for reconsideration, they could do that?
Correct.
Thank you.
But right now, we're considering a motion for reconsideration that has to be, get a majority, and then if we get past that majority, then you would make the vote again to approve Mr. Sullivan for.
Or there could be a vote to reconsider any of the other no's, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Allison, call the vote, please.
Vice Mayor Panieri?
Yes.
Councilmember Gambaro?
Yes.
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
And Mayor Norris?
No.
The vote passes 3-1.
That's it.
So that was for the motion to reconsider. So now it's, anybody wants to make a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move again to appoint Mr. Sullivan to the City Council.
Second.
Comments?
I'd just like to make a comment about, you know, everybody reiterating, you know, different candidates, and this is who we voted for. Mr. Sullivan was voted twice in by a lot of people, more than probably any candidate up here, in fact. You know, we're talking about potentially a candidate that did not make the finals. I understand that, you know, that as an impasse, we're looking for alternatives, but, you know, the answer is they didn't make the finals. They did not make the top 3. And so just because we're 2-2 on 1 or 2 or 3, doesn't mean we should look to the 4th, in my eyes. And so just want to reiterate that and say that, and correct the record, so to speak, that, you know, when people are saying that Mr. Sullivan wasn't chosen by the voters, he was, multiple times, in fact. If he didn't do a good job, I don't think he would have got reelected, and he did. So just want to make that point.
Yeah, I'm just, you know, I feel we're in a tough spot right now because, you know, 2-2 doesn't get us anywhere. We've been in this spot before, unfortunately. The 2 candidates that I think would have really provided that new, fresh perspective that I think the voters are really looking for are not being put forward. I think that Mr. Sullivan will do a fine job. I really do. I trust and hope that we will see some fresh perspective and some analysis into issues, really listening to the residents and their concerns.
All right, thank you, ma'am. This may be a little bit unorthodox, but Mr. Stevens is trying to call me. Could we let him speak during the public comment? Could I put him on speaker and let him speak if he wants to say anything?
We would need a consensus from the.
That's why I'm asking. Do I have
To
consensus?
reopen public comment, essentially?
Well, we got to reopen public comment anyway for this nomination.
I would agree with that, yes.
Okay, let's see if I can,
Mr. Mayor, and if
Yeah.
you're going to do that, just maybe close to the microphone so Allison can keep it for the record.
okay, that's fine. Let me see. I don't know if he went, if he was trying to call or not, so, but it's twice.
Hello.
Hey, Ray, it's Mike.
Hi, Mike. How you doing?
Hey, I'm sorry that you're calling. Did you want to say something? Because we're opening up for public comment.
No, I'm returning your call.
Okay, all right. I called earlier to check on him before I came into council. Okay, Ray, I just want to make sure you're doing fine, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I called him before I got out of my truck to check on him. All right, so we'll move it to public comment again concerning Mr. Sullivan's nomination. Yeah, sure.
Got a spot worn on the carpet.
Mr. Miller, let me address one comment that you made that's false. Okay, Mr. Sullivan was not, on the second time, win by any great plurality. It was under 500 votes, about 480 is what he won by. But the interesting thing that happened in the last week of that campaign in 2020, because I know it well, because Commissioner Carney is a friend of mine, okay, and all of a sudden on social media, there was something that was placed on social media that said, and it was widely spread, and it was spread professionally, okay, that, gee, Kim's really a great candidate, we'd like to go with Kim, but we really have a hard time with the fact that her son's in jail, okay? For the record, Kim Carney does not have a son. Okay, that's the kind of stunts that were going on, okay, and he barely pulled it off by 500 votes. So if you're talking about any great plurality, okay, it's not there. It was dwindling in 2020. So, and I'm just saying this is that you're absolutely going in the wrong direction. And, I don't understand why, you're continuing to try and put somebody there. I'm telling you for a fact, you can go back and look on the Value Adjustment Board, okay? I know Mr. Gambaro would not put anybody in a position where they didn't have the mental ability, the acuity to handle the job, and that's exactly what went on. When the chair of the school board has to get up on the Value Adjustment Board and go over and show Dave where on the agenda they are, physically get up and go over and point to it and follow it so he can follow it. There's a problem, folks, okay? And we don't need to be putting this problem back in a seat. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else for public comment? Yes, ma'am.
Denise Henry, P-section. In response to Mr. Miller, in the first place, that was for county commissioner, it has nothing to do with Palm Coast. And a lot has happened in 4 years, and the residents became very disenchanted with what the council was doing. And so that's why we wanted fresh blood on our council.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir, Mr. Davis.
I like McDonald. That's one person I would never have a debate with, especially about our city, because he knows far too much. I've learned a lot having talks with him. And again, for him to come up here and put his 2 cents in and y'all just disregard it is amazing. I mean, he was a developer. He knows a lot of the issues in this town. He knows the charter pretty damn well. Oh, sorry. It's just baffling to watch, really. Actually, it's not. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am. She beat you to it.
Hi, my name's Jennifer Pellegrino. I wasn't planning to come to talk today. It's my first time ever coming to a council meeting. I've lived in Palm Coast for 19 years. I'm a registered nurse here. I own 2 businesses in the European Village. I'm really happy I came today. I came specifically for the European Village, but I'm not trying to take a lot of time, but I think, wow, this is a really useful thing. I didn't realize you could come to these council meetings and discuss things about the city. I kind of wish I knew a little bit more about this topic and some of the candidates today. I'm actually kind of ashamed that I don't have any opinions on any of them, but I can see 2-2 votes up here. I'm listening to everyone's side, and I just want to bring out Vice Mayor Pontieri. She's head of our district, and I didn't know who to reach out to for some of our problems. And we had sent her an email, Scott Campion and I, and she immediately responded. She came out and met us. I was really grateful. I was like, wow, I didn't know I had these kind of resources here in the city. So when you're considering someone for District 3, I think that's a really, really important factor. I have no idea what kind of experience Vice Mayor Pontieri even has, in all honesty, but the support that I got from her, and that, like she brought out, any of you guys would give for anyone that's not even in your district, I think that should highly, highly be considered for whoever you're going to put in that spot, because people really need support. Businesses need support. Locals need support. And that's all I wanted to say. Thank you all for everything that you do for us.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Marilyn Mack, F Section, 15-year Palm Coast resident. It's very obvious when you sit out here and watch what's going on. It's pretty hysterical, actually, the games that are played up there. Anyways, I'm not sure that anybody's mentioned how important this third vote is going to be in this whole scenario. And if you guys don't vote for the right candidate today, this city is sunk. It's that plain and simple. Look at what Candy has done for our community and our residents over the last 2 years without sitting up there. Who all do you know who's done that? Can y'all name any other resident that's done that? And so the words that have been spoken here today, right, we don't need to go backwards, we need to go forwards. If we go backwards, it's going to be the same old crap. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else for public comment? Seeing no one come forward, we'll bring it back to the dais. Any further comments? Ms. Allison, restate the motion and call the vote.
I believe the motion, Councilmember Gambaro made a motion to approve Mr. Sullivan, and Councilmember Miller seconded.
Yes, ma'am. Call the vote.
Vice Mayor Pontieri?
Yes.
Councilmember Gambaro?
Yes.
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
And Mayor Norris?
No.
The motion passes 3-1.
Okay. We'll move on with item I, the oath of office.
Mr. Sullivan, if you could please go to the podium.
Thank you. Hi, Irene.
Congratulations. I'm going to administer the oath. If you raise your right hand.
I will do that. I, David Sullivan,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and the government of the United States
the Constitution and the government of the United States
and of the state of Florida,
and of the state of Florida,
that I am duly qualified
that I am duly qualified
to hold office under the Constitution of the state,
to hold office under the Constitution of the state,
and that I will well and faithfully perform the duties
and I will well and faithfully perform the duties
of council member
of council member
of the city of Palm Coast,
of the city of Palm Coast,
on which I am now about to enter.
on which I am now about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Didn't know you were behind me.
Just make a quick statement.
Yes, sir, go right ahead.
I just wanted to say thank you. I know this wasn't easy for the council to go through this process, but I do think that when you're ready to serve and you've had the experience, that I think it made sense for me to apply for this position. Now, first, I wanted to say about Ray Stevens. I was on the canvassing board the last 3 elections, including the one where Ray and Mr. Stansel came very close in the primary part of it to win. And I remember sitting there with Ray, and we got along just fine. And I've known him a long time. So I think that was important. I wanted to let you know that I knew Ray. It's very unfortunate that he was not able to complete his term. So I'm here, and I absolutely guarantee to all of you on the board, all the citizens of Palm Coast, that I will do the job absolutely along the lines that I said I would do it. I look at the facts, and then I make a decision. I'm in nobody's pocket, never have been, never will be, and I always make my decisions based on the facts that are presented. So I look forward to my time on the council, and look forward to working with all of you. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. If I could get consensus, can we take a 10-minute break?
That's fine with me.
We good? We're going to adjourn for 10 minutes.